Talk to you about domestic violence. Millions of Americans each year become injured or even killed due to domestic violence. One of every 4 women will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. What is domestic violence? Domestic violence has been defined as a pattern of abusive behavior by one or both parties in an intimate relationship, such as marriage, dating, family, or friends. Domestic violence causes women, men, children to suffer violent deaths, either directly through homicide or indirectly through suicide. What can happen if you don't report domestic violence? Victims will often expose repeated to threats, violence, intimidation, and physical, emotional, and psychological abuse. Constant, repeated exposure to domestic violence has profound effect on victims' daily activity and functioning, thinking, and personal relationships and self. How can we do this? We can prevent domestic violence by exposing its roots causes, ensuring that abilities of services for domestic violence to victims, expand services systematically so that every victim may obtain needed services, empower victims, eliminate domestic violence by victims, individuals, organizations, and societies through educating and calibrating. In homicides, in which victim killers relationships is known, 1/3 of females were killed. Women and men of all cultures, races, occupations, income levels are battered by husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, lovers, partners. Let's not forget family. Domestic violence is a problem that affects every community across the country. It crosses all races, socials, economic backgrounds, cultures, religions, and relationship types. What we can do about domestic violence: if we don't report it, it can happen. If he says that it don't happen again, it will happen again. Also, children get affected by this. Domestic violence is not just physical. Domestic violence is also psychological.
That look like Drake. That look like Drake.
What can you do about domestic violence to prevent it? You can tell someone about it. You can tell a family member. You can tell a cousin, mother, father, someone. You can tell a police officer. You can come down to your courthouse. You can file a restraining order, a protective order, or a court order. A protection order is basically a piece of paper that someone comes and uses. They come in and they file it. And it pretty much prevents the person from having any contact with the person. If you are a child, an adult, and you have experienced physical harm or bodily injury, assault, stalking, sexual assault, or infliction of fear, then you need to report it. And who are these people that are being abused? Spouses, former spouses, persons who have children in common, adult persons related by blood or marriage, persons 16 of age or older who have had a dating relationship with someone else. It's not just spouse. It can happen between young kids of the age of 16, boyfriend and girlfriend, in high school. What can we do about a protection order? We can restrain the respondent from committing acts of domestic violence, include a respondent from the petitioner's residence, shared by the petitioner, prohibit the respondent from harassing or contacting the petitioner directly, indirectly, by mail, telephone, email, at school, or at work. Award temporary custody to a minor child, establish temporary visitation, restrain the other parent from interfering with custody. Order the respondent to participate in treatment and counseling. Prohibit it and keep the person from making other attempts or hurting anyone else. If you don't report it, it can get worse. What works to best ensure the orders? Creating a seamless network amongst the courts, law enforcement officials, prosecutors, legal service providers, and victims advocates. This requires ongoing communication and shared beliefs that violence against an intimate partner or family member is a serious matter and not to be tolerated. What happens if the abuser continues? It only gets worse. How can you tell the symptoms? The symptoms could be if a person threatens you, threatens suicide or homicide, a person that has access to weapons, a session over with the partner, a history of law enforcement involvement, and hostage talk. I want to tell you that contact the police office, the sheriff's office, report it. Note that it would never happen again if you report it before it's too late. And thank you. That was 8 minutes? How long?
7.
6?
7, almost
7.
You done?
Behind the scenes, Ramptv. Let's go.
Wow. I'm out, bitches.
He's recalling.
Oh, I'm sorry. You can edit that.
Man, yo, people always want to make me edit. I don't be wanting to edit. Ah.
Next session.
How about the